Hello and welcome back. All right, you guys know here on the Messy Success podcast, we share a lot of debriefs, behind the scenes, real life business updates. And we've had a lot of great guest episodes. So this one is a little bit overdue. But today we are going to be debriefing my annual in person event called Elevate and Inspire. So I'm going to tell you what went well, what didn't go well, what changes we might be making. A lot of those I don't know the answers to, but maybe you guys can help me out. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast, where your growth is our favorite topic. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson, and here on the podcast, we share behind the scenes of building a business using our community-based marketing and real-life lessons that make your business easy and profitable. We help you combine your Dharma, your unique skills, and your offers to build the business of your dreams on your terms. I don't give average business advice. I'm here to help you unlock the superpowers that are already within you. So make sure to follow along, and I promise you will start becoming even more magnetic, and you will see your own community grow around your brand.
All right. This was our third annual Elevate and Inspire. I have done this event now for 3 years in a row, the same thing around the same time of year. And here is the coolest part. This year in general, 2026, I'm really starting to see the benefits of building out my year the same way on repeat. And Elevate and Inspire is just an anchor to that. It's an anchor to one of the big events, essentially, that I will repeat every year. This being the biggest. A live event with 60 people is a lot of work. So it's a big anchor. But when I think about my year as a whole, there are things that repeat and stay really consistent. And we cannot improve what we do not repeat. So the fact that I've seen this event happen, hosted this event for 3 years in a row now, is incredible. And I'm going to tell you guys why this went so well, because I do believe this was our best one yet. I do believe this one was a bit of a quantum leap. And so year one, let's rewind a little bit. Year one was a big experiment. Year one was, can I host an event? Can I do this? It was incredible. Year one, being 2024, was hands down a quantum leap year for me and my business. I did over $40,000 in sales from that event, and what opportunities it opened up for me, the amount of sales I got after the event, etc. That was nothing I had ever seen or done before in my business. The event itself that year, as far as just selling tickets, sponsorships, etc., did not make money. It broke even. But that's kind of the goal with live in-person events that you're selling at, is that you break even, that it's self-liquidating. There's not a ton of money to be made in live events because they cost so much money to put on. Now, could I charge a higher ticket price and make a little bit more profit for the event itself? Probably. But there's a lot of new people coming into this room, coming into this space, and I really want that low barrier to entry so that I can meet some new faces. Would the people that have worked with me before pay a higher ticket price because they know what to expect? Yes. But we're really using this event to attract people that have not had an experience of me yet. And so year one was phenomenal. We broke even on our cost. We learned a ton and we saw incredible sales from the event. So year one was incredible. Now, year two was just, can we repeat year one? So there was very few things that I changed going from year one to year two. Of course, I changed, if you were at both of them, they probably felt very different. We did totally different structures for our breakout rooms. We added in the panel for year two. So of course there was differences. But as far as just pencil to paper. We did the same venue, same prices. I did change up the way in which I sell my program, which we did see less sales in year two. It all evened out after the event, but also we had a lot more current members in the audience on year two. So while our numbers were the same, we had about 50 people both years, year one and year two. The amount of ideal clients that I had in the room to sell to for the first time was significantly lower because half the room was already in my program because they had bought it the year before. So that was all really interesting, but really good feedback, nothing wrong, bad, or broken. Year two was literally just a test of can we repeat year one? Now, year three, we start making some changes. So, year three, which was this year, we tried out a different venue, which was great, which is kind of crazy because it wasn't that I didn't like the old venue. I just joined a new co working space here in Virginia Beach called Gather, and you can host events on nights and weekends. I don't even want to say at no cost because you pay for the membership of the co working space, but it was thousands less than what I had to pay at the old venue. So that excited me. And the space is bigger. So I knew we could comfortably grow to 60 to 75 people without worrying about if the venue would be too crowded. So we did exactly that. Year three, we grew to 60 attendees, and it was profitable on the front end of the event for the first time ever. Year two, we made like $300 profit from hosting the event. Year three, we made almost $10,000 in profit simply from hosting the event. Now, that's from a few things. The first year was like, can I just get 50 people in the room? And I was giving away tickets. I was giving more discounts to tickets. I was doing BOGOs. I mean, I was literally just hustling to fill up the room. That was the purpose, was to fill the room. And then year two, we did a little bit less of that. And then year three, we only gave away about 3 scholarship spots. And the scholarship spots are paid for by our sponsors. We didn't really give heavy discounts this year. There was a few $50 coupons running around, and then the 3 scholarship spots, which are kind of like a for as needed basis. So we really didn't give away a lot of seats. So that was more profitable right there. And then on top of that, we knocked sponsorships out the park. And if you haven't listened to my episode with Justin Moore, that's just 1 or 2 episodes back, not many, I want you to go listen to that because the opportunity for sponsorships, if you host live events, is incredible. And I met him in February and I was able to make $10,000 almost in sponsorship money, which essentially allowed us to again self liquidate with the event, but then actually make profit on ticket sales, which was just a really huge shift on the front side of the event. And to go into it knowing I could spend so much more. So we did like cash prizes. We did more prizes than we've ever done in the past. I was just able to pour in a different way than I have been in the past without worrying about, the event barely breaking even. Because there's a lot of expenses, there's a lot of labor. This venue specifically required more labor costs because there was no one at the venue to help us. We had to literally do everything and we had to break down each day, which was, not great, but like it was worth it for the venue. And so those are our big, big things that I think made this year so successful financially. And then not on the financial side, the venue was so much better. I'll get into that in a second. But then I also changed a lot about the programming this year. We didn't do breakout rooms at all. And I coached on stage 4 sessions instead of just 1. So I'll get into that in a second. Let's talk about the venue first. So this is a co-working space. So the co-working like offices and stuff are closed. The big room where the event was is connected to the kitchen. We had like a couple of vendor tables. It's all one big rectangle. And so we had like half of it set up with the rows and the chairs and the projector, the screen. And then the other half was like the kitchen for like vendor shopping and, snacks and bevies. And having everything in one room was so great because at the old venue, the kitchen was kind of separate. So there's like a partition and a double doorway separating the conference room from the kitchen. And you have a whole entire outdoor patio, which is great. We love the outdoor patio, and the entire building is open. So to keep 50 people in the room was actually quite challenging, which I didn't realize until I had kind of the opposite effect. After every lunch, after every break, because my community is so community driven, people are hanging out as much as possible during the breaks. And that's great. We want that, but we also want to stay on task with the programming. And this venue just really required a more intimate setting out of everyone because there was no choice. And I think that worked in their favor. And then it was really easy to rein everyone back in when it was time to go back to the programming. And so that part was just really beautiful. I could always see everyone in the room. I could always know that everyone was back from a break. It was a really cool setup, like a really cool setup. I'm so happy with this space and how it turned out. And I just kept thinking that to myself over and over and saying it over and over at the event, like, wow, this space is just so great compared to the other one. And it wasn't necessarily an upgrade price wise or anything like that for the venue itself. No, I said it was because it was an empty shell. We did have to spend more money than the other one that was like a little more turnkey. We had to have our own audio equipment this year, which thank goodness my husband took the lead on setting that up, and that worked out phenomenal. I think it actually sounded better than the one that was like predetermined for us at the other venue. So that was really great. The programming, like I said, what I changed this year is I did more coaching on stage because I kind of left year 2 and I was like, wow, I leaned in hard to the community stuff in year 2 and almost felt like I didn't showcase myself enough, which of course, if I want people to join my program and to work with me, that's kind of the whole point. And this is a typical like Liz thing to do, to be so busy shining the light on everyone else that I kind of forget that, I'm running the show and I need to be doing my thing too. So I really did step into that energy this year. And in the past, we have done elevator pitches live on stage and people love it. It's so entertaining to watch me coach someone on their elevator pitch. But this year instead, we did all 4 phases of what I consider like the 4 phases of building a business using my community-based marketing strategies. So we worked through branding, which looking at branding as your belief system. Are you 10 out of 10 confident in your business and the way that you show up? And then we did marketing. Marketing is your map. And then we did sales. Sales is your system. And then we did visibility is your vision. I believe I used alliteration on those, so I believe that was right. And for each phase, I brought up a co-volunteer or 2 and coached them, and we whiteboarded, and we did this, over the course of the 2 days. And then we also had all the same amount of speakers as we usually do. And so we had 2 sponsors in the room that were incredible. And it was really great. I mean, multiple people came up and said it was the best one yet, people who had been to all 3. I incorporated more stories from alumni. Amber, my assistant, even shared her story. So there was a lot of sharing the spotlight for sure. We did a community-based marketing panel that people loved. And so it really was great. The only things that have me hesitating on using that venue again, the programming I loved. The programming I'm going to keep very similar because it can grow with me. I did change a lot of the content this year. So we had a 90s theme. So the audience got to see a little bit about Liz in the 90s and how community based marketing really thrived in the 90s. And we looked at some 90s advertising that is still relevant today, like Nike's Just Do It or Apple's Think Different. These are all marketing campaigns that started in the 90s and are still incredibly powerful today. So we looked at some of that. The content was great. My restructuring was great. The only thing that has me not sure if we'll use that venue again is we don't have a lot of room for growth. Like I said, we could maybe go to 75 people next year in that space. The space is locked. So I had to hire a door person. He did an amazing job, but I think we would need 2 keys and 2 door people to really make that experience a little bit better for people coming in and out from lunch, etc. But overall, it's kind of a good thing that the building is locked. And the space was really incredible. I just feel like we're going to need to grow a little bit more next year. So I'm actually thinking about taking Elevate and Inspire on the road next year. I have not made any final decisions, but I think it might be cool to go somewhere like Raleigh or Baltimore, somewhere that has a bigger airport right there so that people can get really easy direct flights, and possibly some, more venues to choose from that also have hotels nearby. So we'll see. I'm not really ready to make any of those decisions, but I also know that I can't procrastinate on them too long, or we probably will just end up at the same venue next year and kind of rinse and repeat what we did this year, which was great. I would like a little bit of a bigger TV screen. That TV was a little bit small for the amount of people in the room. That's all figure outable. We could upgrade our equipment to having a projector, but it was a vibe. It was a really good setup. I thought, at least. We didn't get any negative reviews or feedback, lots of positive feedback. So we will see. And for sales, we are doing great. Like I said, the event itself was profitable this year. Sales and post event have been really great this year. We're still in the process of a lot of follow ups. So I don't necessarily have that final number, but I would say we're probably about 3 sales away from exceeding that year 1 success. So we're doing great. We really are doing great. Another cool thing I did this year was I wanted to offer my alumni something, because I was like, man, I'm really missing out on an opportunity where everybody's energy is so high and we're all together, to invite my alumni to continue working with me in some way or another. And so I just gave them all a personal invitation to something special. And I just printed it out with a QR code and passed it out to them during the event. And this was really great because then I didn't have to pitch both offers. I just pitched Elevate, my group coaching program, and then I handed out an invitation to the alumni in the room. And that worked really well. So that was cool. So I'll definitely repeat something similar to that in the future as we continue to grow our alumni opportunities, really. So that was it. Elevate and Inspire 2026. Our highlight video is already up, so I'll make sure we link that in the show notes. I will also be sure we link our wait list for 2027, because we are already building that wait list. I do want to take a minute to shout out our incredible sponsors. So you guys met Justin on the podcast just a few episodes ago. Justin Moore, he gave out his book Sponsor Magnet, and it was a huge hit. Justin, thank you so much for all you've done to help me and all the people that we're going to help with your book. Daryl Vesterfelt from Mighty Networks. He's my mastermind coach that was in the room. Doc Williams of the Brand Factory was also in the room and spoke on stage. And Molly Donlin donated her book, Mundane Magic, here, which is also awesome. Molly was also just on the podcast, so you can go back and listen to her episode. This is a really cool book for any of you busy moms trying to keep your house straight, trying to stay on top of your life. I love this book. I'm very excited about it. And then Rocky Kitzmiller, who is an Elevate alumni, decided to purchase a sponsorship package this year, which was amazing, because to see Rocky, who's been in the community since really early on. So she joined right after Elevate and Inspire 2024. Her business has done extremely well. And to watch her turn around and pour money and support back into the community, I mean, that was full circle moment for me. And I'm just exploding with gratitude because, obviously sponsorships are so sacred and valuable, that to have someone from inside the community decide that they wanted to step up in that way was just really amazing. So thank you, Rocky. And then Shannon with Boldly Becoming Life Coaching did one of our really small but very important sponsorship packages as well. So thank you, Shannon. And Shannon is a current Elevate member, and she just jumped on the chance to support the event and, get her brand on the intersection and all that good stuff. So there was a lot of that behind the scenes stuff that we did differently this year. So the first year was like anybody can do the swag bags. The second year was like anybody in my program can kind of do the swag bags. And this year we did sponsors only can do the swag bags, because what I realized, and I say this with so much love, was that the swag bags are of no benefit to me and my company, right? It's cool to give cool things to the guests, but again, that's not a pain point. That's not why they're coming. And I realized by last year when we stuffed books into the swag bags, which was also a sponsorship, so it was worth it, how much work it is to prepare the swag bags, stuff the swag bags, especially when now we've got 2 actual books in there, transport the swag bags. I mean, this is a big effort. So it makes sense that this is a sponsor only opportunity, because essentially we're getting paid to do all of that actual labor. And it just works better. It's a much more equal energy exchange than me just giving out cool stuff. I didn't do any Amazon purchases in the swag bag this year. I've always felt like I kind of had to have some filler. I didn't need any of that this year. Rocky's incense was a huge hit, by the way. So that was a win. That was a win. The swag bags this year I thought were really great, and they were fully funded by our sponsors. So that was very cool. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. There will probably be more over the coming months and as my team does our official debrief. But I did want to share that. And anyone who's listening who does live events or wants to do live events, I really want you to hear me when I say this was so successful because it was year 3. Because I've gone all in with my whole soul for 3 years in a row. This was the best one yet, as it should be, because you cannot improve what you do not repeat. And us repeating this event is what makes it so great. Yes, year 1 was phenomenal. Let's not take away from the fact that we knocked it out of the park the first year. But if we had just left it at the first year, then I would have not learned all the things that I've learned that made year 3 so good. So I want to encourage you, as creative as you are, figure out what are your big anchors in your year that you can do year over year and continue to improve. And that's where the scaling happens. And I'm just seeing that in a whole new way this year, because we are on track for our best year yet. And it's been the easiest year yet in a lot of ways, because we are repeating. We are repeating what works. We're even repeating what hasn't worked and improving it as we go and taking the learnings and taking the wisdom. So I want you to really hear that part of this episode, that if there's something that you want to be part of your permanent business model, just start and just repeat, and you will improve, my friend. All right. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Yay! Thank you so much for being here and pushing play today. It really means the world to have you here, and this podcast wouldn't exist without you. If you're curious about your next step in business, don't forget to take our next step action quiz at elizabethhenson.co/next, and it will tell you exactly what is your next move. If you love this podcast, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave us a review. It truly means the world to us and keeps us going. If you have a question or maybe a barrier in your business, we would love to invite you to submit your question, and we are even starting a new series where we will be coaching live on the air. So if you want to hear more about that or have your question answered or just maybe feel brave and vulnerable to share about your business here on the podcast and get some support live on air, go to elizabethhenson.co/ask, and we really hope to hear from you. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.